Usually, when you dive into the world of nutritional literature, you expect to be immediately hit with a wall of clinical jargon.
Oh, absolutely. It's usually incredibly dense.
Right, like you expect dense metabolic charts, complex chemical pathways, and you generally expect to feel like you need an advanced degree in biochemistry just to, figure out what to put in your grocery cart.
Yeah, it really is a massive barrier to entry. I mean, most of these documents leave people feeling significantly more overwhelmed than when they started reading, which honestly defeats the entire purpose of public health information.
Exactly. But today, we're looking at something completely different. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a source document with a surprisingly bold, very catchy title. It's called Kiwi, Vitamin C Superstar.
It is a great title,
Well,
very to the point.
it really is. And our mission for you, the listener, is to extract the core insights from this text to help you understand exactly how this specific fuzzy brown fruit is supposed to fit into a healthy lifestyle. Okay, let's unpack this because we've all seen a kiwi at the grocery store.
Sure, they're everywhere.
Right. But this source positions it as a literal superstar of nutrition. It's promising not just a list of vitamins, but a complete system for interacting with your food.
And that's why this source material is incredibly refreshing. It isn't just a static list of nutritional facts, It actually presents a comprehensive biological and logistical framework.
Which is pretty real for this kind of document.
It really is. It covers the entire life cycle of your interaction with the fruit. We're talking about the journey from the cellular payload of the fruit itself to the chemistry of seasonal buying and storage, all the way to the molecular reactions that happen when you actually prepare it in your kitchen.
It treats food as a dynamic lifestyle variable rather than like a museum artifact.
Precisely. It's highly practical.
So are you looking to upgrade your weekly meal prep without feeling paralyzed by information overload? Because if you are in the right place. We're going to distill exactly what this source says about making that happen.
And I think that's exactly what makes this deep dive so valuable.
Yeah. But before we get into the kitchen logistics, we really have to look at the baseline biology. Because the title of the document puts vitamin C up in neon lights.
Right. It does. Yeah, it really leans into that.
But the moment you actually read the text, it expands its scope massively. It explicitly details a much wider payload, a very specific matrix of minerals, antioxidants, fiber, and these really unique plant compounds.
Well, the title hooks you with a very familiar nutrient,
Right?
Because vitamin C is universally recognized as beneficial. Everyone knows it.
Right. Everyone knows to drink orange juice when they get a cold.
Exactly. But the text quickly educates the reader that the true biological value actually lies in the architecture of the whole fruit. Like, take the vitamin C itself.
Okay, let's look at it.
Yes. A kiwi has incredibly high concentrations, actually more per ounce than an orange. But ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, is water-soluble.
Meaning your body doesn't store it long term.
Right. If you just take a massive synthetic dose of it in a pill, your body often flushes out what it can't absorb immediately.
It just passes right through your system.
Yeah.
You create very expensive urine, basically.
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. But the source explains that the kiwi delivers this vitamin C alongside a very specific ratio of soluble and insoluble fiber.
Oh, interesting. So they work together.
Very much so. When you consume the fruit, that soluble fiber absorbs water in your digestive tract, and it creates this highly viscous gel.
A gel inside your stomach.
Yeah, exactly. And this gel physically slows down gastric emptying. It paces the digestion process, meaning the vitamin C is released slowly and steadily into your bloodstream.
Oh, wow. So it's not just a quick hit.
No, it maximizes your body's ability to actually absorb and utilize it over time.
So the fiber acts like a built-in biological time-release capsule for the vitamin. That is completely different than just, looking at a chart and seeing high in vitamin C.
It's a completely different mechanism.
The fruit is literally engineering its own absorption. That's amazing.
And that synergy extends to the rest of the payload, too. The source details how this same fiber matrix traps natural sugars, which prevents a rapid insulin spike.
Which is always a concern with sweet fruits.
Exactly. It also highlights the antioxidants, specifically lutein and zeaxanthin, which are crucial for macular health in the eyes. And most fascinatingly, it details a plant compound utterly unique to the kiwian enzyme called actinidin.
Okay, actinidin. I saw that in the text and it sounded like a comic book element, like something out of Marvel. What exactly is this enzyme doing?
Well, actinidin is a proteolytic enzyme, and that basically means that its primary function is to break down proteins.
Break down proteins, okay.
Yeah, in nature, it helps the plant manage its own cellular processes. But when you eat a kiwi, especially alongside or after a meal containing protein like meat, dairy, or legumes, that actinitin actively works in your digestive tract.
Wait, what does it do in there?
It actually cleaves the peptide bonds of those complex proteins. It breaks them down into smaller, much more easily digestible amino acids.
Wait, really? So if it breaks down proteins, does that mean if I eat a kiwi after like a heavy steak dinner, the fruit is actively helping to digest the meat in my stomach?
That is exactly what the source is outlining, yes. It acts as a digestive aid.
That is wild.
It aids in protein digestion, and that reduces that feeling of heavy bloating you get after a big meal. It's a functional food.
Okay, but here's where I want to push back a little on the framing of this source, because the title screams vitamin C superstar, and we just outlined this incredible ensemble of, time-release fiber, eye-protecting antioxidants, and protein-cleaving enzymes.
But it's a very robust profile.
But then, crucially, the text mentions that this fruit is associated with better long-term health only when eaten as part of a balanced diet rich in other fruits and vegetables.
Yes, that is a key caveat in the document.
So, is calling it a superstar a bit misleading? I mean, think about a highly billed movie star on a poster, right?
Right.
If the script is terrible, the lighting is bad, and the supporting cast forgets their lines, the movie is going to flop.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
The star relies entirely on the supporting cast to make the movie good. So is the kiwi really a superstar, or is it just a solid ensemble cast member in the diet?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the source is actually using that exact tension to make a highly nuanced point about nutritional science.
Okay, how so?
It acknowledges that the kiwi provides a heavily concentrated, biomechanically superior dose of these compounds.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a powerhouse in isolation.
Right, the time release and the enzymes are impressive.
Exactly. However, the text is extremely careful to contextualize it within human biology. The human body requires a massive spectrum of phytonutrients that no single food can provide.
Oh, I see. So it's avoiding the magic bullet trap that so many wellness blogs fall into.
Exactly. It explicitly states that the long-term health benefits like reduced inflammation or better cardiovascular markers are emergent properties of a balanced diet.
So it's a team effort.
Yes. The actinitin in the kiwi might help you digest the protein, but you still need to eat high-quality protein to begin with. The time-release vitamin C supports your immune system, but it still needs the diverse vitamins from leafy greens and root vegetables to build a resilient cellular environment.
That makes a lot of sense.
So the source really positions the kiwi as an elite catalyst. It essentially makes the rest of your diet work better.
It's the superstar that elevates the performance of the supporting cast. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So we've established the biological payload. We know how it operates inside the body.
Right, the baseline biology.
But you can have all the time-release vitamin C and protein-cleaving enzymes in the world, and honestly, none of it matters if the fruit turns to a pile of mush on your counter before you can even eat it.
That is the tragic reality of buying fresh produce.
It really is. And this brings us to a transition in the source text that I found totally surprising, but incredibly practical.
You're talking about the shift into the logistics of the kitchen.
Yes. Here's where it gets really interesting. A lot of nutritional guides just ignore the real-world logistics.
Oh, almost all of them do.
Right. They tell you to eat something, they drop a bunch of metabolic charts on you, and then they basically leave you to fend for yourself in the grocery aisle.
Which isn't very helpful for most people.
Not at all. But this text specifically treats seasonal buying advice and storage methods as distinct pillars of a healthy lifestyle. They're sitting right alongside the biochemistry we just talked about.
What's fascinating here is why a text about nutrition would focus so heavily on shopping and storage. It implies a direct causal link between how we select and keep our food and our ability to actually harvest those long-term health benefits.
So it's saying the logistics aren't just extra steps.
No, it is essentially arguing that logistics are nutrition.
Okay, let's follow that logic. How does a storage method actually connect to, say, the antioxidant levels in the fruit? Because if storage matters that much, does that mean leaving a kiwi on a warm, sunny windowsill isn't just making the fruit warm, it's actually destroying the nutritional payload?
That is precisely what is happening at a molecular level. The nutritional integrity of a harvested fruit is not static. It is highly volatile.
So it's constantly changing.
Yes. Based on the text's emphasis on storage, we have to look at photodegradation. Ascorbic acid is notoriously sensitive to light and heat.
Oh, really? Light actually breaks it down.
It does. If you leave a kiwi in direct sunlight, The ultraviolet radiation penetrates the skin and literally cleaves the molecular bonds of the vitamin C. You are essentially burning off the nutrient before you even cut into the fruit.
That is crazy. You are paying for a superstar payload at the grocery store and then throwing half of it away just by leaving it in the sun.
Furthermore, the text focuses heavily on temperature control and something called ethylene gas.
Ethylene gas. Right, I've heard of this with avocados.
Yeah, it's the same principle. Kiwis are climacteric fruits, meaning they continue to ripen after being picked. They do this by emitting and responding to a plant hormone called ethylene.
Okay.
The source explicitly advises keeping kiwis away from apples and bananas if you want them to last.
Why apples and bananas specifically? Are they the bad guys of the fruit bowl?
Sort of, yeah. Because apples and bananas are heavy ethylene producers. If you put a firm kiwi in a fruit bowl next to a ripe banana, the ethylene gas from the banana acts as a rapid aging signal.
It tells the kiwi to hurry up and get old.
Exactly. It triggers the kiwi to convert its complex starches into simple sugars at a very accelerated rate. The structural pectin in the cell walls breaks down rapidly, which leads to that mushy texture we all hate.
Oh, I hate that mushy texture.
And worse, that highly active metabolic process begins to deplete the vitamin reserves.
So if I buy a batch of kiwis for the week and I want them to last until Friday, I absolutely need to isolate them from the heavy ethylene producers.
Yes, keep them separated.
But I imagine you can use that biology to your advantage too, right? Like if I buy a rock-hard kiwi and I want to eat it tomorrow, I probably should put it in a paper bag with an apple.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
You are harnessing the plant's own hormonal signaling to dictate the ripening schedule.
That is such a clever way to manage it.
And the seasonal buying advice mentioned in the source is equally critical to this timeline. Seasonality dictates the baseline starch-to-sugar ratio at the time of harvest.
So it matters when it was picked.
Immensely.
Yeah.
A fruit picked at peak seasonality has achieved maximum nutrient density on the vine. By explicitly outlining these steps, managing ethylene, controlling light exposure, buying in season, the document is providing a comprehensive roadmap.
A roadmap to make sure the vitamins actually survive.
Yes, to ensure that the complex matrix of fiber and vitamins actually survives the journey to your plate.
It completely changes the way you look at a trip to the produce section. I mean, you aren't just running errands, you're managing a biological supply chain.
That's a very accurate way to look at it.
For you listening, this means being well-informed isn't just knowing what to eat. It is knowing the mechanics of when to buy it and how to handle it.
It really takes the mystery out of why produce sometimes tastes incredible and sometimes tastes completely bland. You are in control of the variables.
But of course, even if you master the ethylene gas and you isolate the fruit in a cool, dark place so the vitamin C is perfectly preserved, there is still one final hurdle.
The biggest hurdle for most people.
Right. You actually have to eat it. And that leads us to the final major theme of our source document. The text dives right into easy preparation techniques and practical meal ideas.
And it concludes with a promise that these steps make it simple to enjoy this food every single week.
Which is the holy grail of dietary advice, right? Making it a habit.
Absolutely. This is where the document shifts from being a manual on cellular biology and supply chain logistics into a guide for human behavioral psychology.
That's a great observation.
By emphasizing easy preparation, the text is offering a direct solution to information overload and dietary fatigue.
Dietary fatigue is so real. I mean, you buy all these incredibly healthy groceries on Sunday with the best of intentions. And by Wednesday evening, you're just too tired to chop, peel, or prep anything.
Right, so you reach for whatever's easiest.
Exactly. So you order takeout while the produce just rots in the crisper drawer. The tragedy of the crisper drawer.
The author clearly understands that human behavior is the ultimate bottleneck in any nutritional plan. The goal presented here isn't to turn you into a culinary artist creating complex reductions,
Right, it's not a Michelin star kitchen.
No, the goal is consistent weekly inclusion. So the text focuses on removing the physical friction from the prep process.
And it gives very concrete ways to do that.
Yeah.
One of the things that jumped out at me is how it addresses the physical nature of the kiwi, the fuzz.
Ah, yes.
The infamous fuzz.
Peeling a kiwi with a knife is incredibly tedious. It's slippery, you lose half the fruit, and it just takes too much time.
It's definitely a point of friction. But the source specifically highlights the spoon method. Just cutting it in half and scooping out the flesh like a bowl. It literally takes 5 seconds.
It is a perfect example of reducing friction. But the text also introduces a highly controversial, yet nutritionally superior preparation method.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
eating it with the skin on.
I have to admit, when I read that, my immediate reaction was absolutely not. The texture of that brown fuzz just seems completely unappetizing.
It is a very common reaction. Most people wouldn't even consider it. But chemically, the skin is where a massive concentration of the fruit's value is stored.
Really? Just right there on the outside?
Yes, by eating the skin, you increase the fiber intake by roughly 50%. You also get a significantly higher dose of folate and those specific antioxidants we mentioned earlier.
But what about the texture?
Well, the source notes that simply washing the fruit and rubbing it lightly with a towel removes the majority of the coarse fuzz. It makes the texture much more akin to a peach or a pear.
Oh, okay, so it's not like eating a carpet.
No, not at all. It's quite mild once you wash it.
So by getting over that mental hurdle, you not only increase the fiber, which, as we know, enhances that time-release vitamin C effect we talked about, but you also eliminate the prep time entirely. You just wash it and bite into it like an apple. Zero friction.
Exactly. You're hacking your own habits. And the source pairs these mechanical tips with specific warnings about chemical interactions in the kitchen.
Right, there were some red flags in there.
For example, it highly recommends the kiwi for morning routines, but it includes a vital caveat about smoothies.
This blew my mind. I always throw fruit into yogurt smoothies for meal prep. But the source specifically warns against prepping a kiwi and yogurt smoothie ahead of time and leaving it in the fridge overnight.
And that takes us right back to the biochemistry from the beginning of our deep dive. Remember actinidin.
The enzyme that cleaves protein bonds, the meat tenderizer.
Precisely. Yogurt is packed with dairy proteins, primarily casein. If you blend a kiwi into a dairy-based smoothie and drink it immediately, it's delicious, and the enzyme actually helps you digest the dairy.
Which sounds great.
It is great. But if you leave that mixture sitting in the refrigerator overnight, the actinidin will spend the next 8 hours actively breaking down the casein proteins in the yogurt.
Oh no, it's tenderizing the yogurt.
Basically, yes. The byproducts of those cleaved dairy proteins are incredibly bitter peptides. So by morning, your healthy meal prep will taste terribly bitter and almost rancid.
Wow. So the very enzyme that makes the fruit a superstar for human digestion turns into a culinary saboteur if you leave it alone with dairy for too long.
It is a double-edged sword.
That is the kind of practical, granular detail that actually dictates whether someone sticks to a diet or gives up. So what does this all mean? It reminds me of the advice you always hear about working out.
Oh, regarding habit formation.
Yeah, like if you want to go to the gym at 6 a.m., you don't just set an alarm. You take your gym clothes and you lay them out on the floor right next to your bed the night before. You remove every single point of friction between waking up and getting out the door.
That's a perfect analogy. The preparation techniques outlined in the source, the spoon method, eating the skin, knowing to avoid overnight dairy interactions, they are the culinary equivalent of laying out your gym clothes.
Because having these practical, frictionless methods ensures you actually follow through. It stops being a theoretical chart about ascorbic acid and becomes a concrete, recurring action in your kitchen.
And that's what creates real change.
Right. If the prep is easy, you do it. If you do it every week, you get the long-term health benefits the text promises.
It really maps out the exact causality. It draws a straight line from understanding the actinidin to managing the ethylene gas in storage to utilizing the 5-second spoon method straight through to the long-term health associated with a balanced diet.
It really is a brilliantly structured framework. It doesn't just hand you a biological fact. It hands you the complete instruction manual for integrating that fact into your daily reality.
I agree completely. When we look at how this source handles a single piece of produce, it fundamentally shifts how we should be viewing our diets as a whole.
In what way?
Well, this text shows that understanding the process of eating, the chemical interactions of storage, the hormonal triggers of ripening, the enzymatic reactions during simple prep is just as important as understanding the cellular biology of the food itself.
It's all connected.
It is. A single, well-understood ingredient truly acts as a gateway to mastering a broader nutritional lifestyle.
That is a huge takeaway. It completely reframes how you look at the mundane act of grocery shopping and meal prep. You are basically conducting applied science in your kitchen every single day.
You really are.
Let's take a quick look back at the ground we've covered today. We started this deep dive looking at a document that promised us a vitamin C superstar, but we quickly uncovered the broader nutritional profile, right?
Yes, the intricate matrix inside the fruit.
Exactly. How the soluble fiber acts as a time-release mechanism for the vitamins, and how unique enzymes like actinidin actively aid in digesting our other food.
And from there, we navigated the logistical realities of the supply chain. We learned that managing plant hormones like ethylene and protecting the fruit from photodegradation aren't just extra tips.
They're essential.
They are absolute biological requirements for preserving the nutritional payload you paid for.
And finally, we looked at how to eliminate behavioral friction. We explored the massive nutritional benefits of eating the skin, and we learned exactly why you should never leave a kiwi in a yogurt smoothie overnight. Effectively, we learned how to lay out our culinary gym clothes to guarantee consistent weekly habits.
With a very complete picture.
It really is. But as we wrap up this deep dive, there's one final thing from our source material that I can't quite shake. It builds right on that heavy emphasis the text puts on the physical realities of storage and seasonal buying sitting alongside the biological claims.
This raises an important question. What is the thought?
Well, I want to leave you, the listener, with this one final idea to mull over. If a fruit's superstar status, its actual chemical composition and vitamin density, is so heavily dependent on the specific season you buy it, the ambient temperature of your kitchen counter, and whether it's sitting next to an apple.
Right.
Does that mean a food's true nutritional power is actually dictated by the calendar and your kitchen counter rather than just what nature originally put inside it?
Oh, wow. That completely blurs the line between nature and nurture when it comes to our food. That is a very compelling perspective to leave on.
It really makes you look at your fruit bowl differently. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Keep questioning your sources, keep looking for the biochemical mechanisms behind the headlines, and most importantly, stay curious. We will catch you next time.